Today, for our at home time, I want to read through Proverbs 11, and I'm just going to pick a couple verses that the Lord really highlighted to me, and hopefully bring you some encouragement and some wisdom with those. The Lord, I really feel like, has a verse in this chapter for you, and I encourage you to read through this chapter and just find that verse that the Lord highlights to you and ask Him what wisdom He has for you to gain from that. Proverbs 11 is referred to as blessings to the righteous and the upright. And I think the first verse here really speaks to that. The Lord detests the use of dishonest scales, but He delights in accurate weights. And for me, this is just those behind the scenes things where when you get too much change, what do? When you have the opportunity to charge $1 more or $2 more, what do? And to me, that really speaks to a heart issue. You know, people aren't checking our scales every day. They're not looking behind what we're doing at all times, and we have a responsibility to make sure that we're checking our scales and keeping them accurate. The Lord really honors when given the opportunity to really just go to that honesty, to use the proper scales, to use the proper weights and measures, and really just move through those situations is character building in our lives. It's life giving to our lives, and I really just like the way that they put it in that verse. Verse 11 was another one that stuck out to me. Upright citizens are good for a city and make it prosper, but the talk of the wicked tears it apart. See, there's two parts in this for me. I think of this in terms of our outreach and how those events are life-giving. They bring prosperity to our city, to the people of our city, and they're so good for the neighborhoods of our city. And the Lord just really hit me with this, that what is it when those events don't go just right? And there's been times where we've done an outreach and the event has went less than perfect, or there was a bad attitude person there. And on my way home, I found myself grumbling and complaining a little bit. And the Lord just really corrected me on that in this verse and said, you just went and were prosperous to your city, and you brought life to your city. And now with your words, you're tearing it apart. You're undoing the work that you just did. And I just had to pause there and really just posture my heart to hear that from the Lord, that I need to not let those events be undone by my words on my way home. So that was just really home hitting to me. 12 also spoke to me. It is foolish to belittle one's neighbor, but a sensible person keeps quiet. And this goes back for me to the power of life and death is in the tongue. And we all have to be aware of what we say and how we say it. But more importantly, our neighbors need to know that our words are going to bring them life. We may be the only person that ever gives them the opportunity to see Jesus. So let's make sure that we're not belittling our neighbors. 14, I think, is really important for this time that we're in. Without wise leadership, a nation falls. There is safety in having many advisors. This one speaks to me especially at this time with the virus. And what I mean by this is our leaders of this nation are making decisions. And some of those decisions we like, and some of those decisions we don't like. And some of those leaders we like, and some of those leaders we don't like. But it doesn't say if we like our wise leaders. So my prayer is, Lord, give our leaders wisdom. Lord, help them with the decisions that they need to make in this time, that our nation won't fail. And I can pray for my leader and leaders, even if I don't like them. As a believer, I can pray for people that I don't agree with, that I don't see eye to eye with. And the Lord can give them wisdom. And maybe the Lord can give me wisdom, that He's put that leader there for whatever reason for this season. And again, I don't have to agree, but I can pray so that our nation doesn't fall. And there's something to be said for praying for the advisors as well, because that's what it says, having many advisors. And I think that by having a large pool there, it gains them the wisdom that they need to make the decisions that are best for us and our nation. So let's just please just pray for our leaders in this time. And let's just make sure that we're putting aside the words of discouragement so that we can bring healing to this nation. And I'm going to skip down several more and go to 24. Give freely and become more wealthy, but be stingy and lose everything. And I think of this verse to be a lifestyle of living generously and not worrying about accumulating everything that you can, but rather holding things loosely and giving as the Lord lays on your heart, whether it's time, energy, resources. We always have something that we can give, but are we giving it freely? And I want to be able to give my things freely and not begrudgingly. So the Lord just laid that on my heart to remind me. And then skipping all the way down to 31, if the righteous are rewarded on earth, what will happen to the wicked? And this verse really broke my heart. To end on this one is kind of big. I think of this a little bit differently, and the Lord just put this on my heart when I read it. That as a righteous person, I have a mandate here not to wait and see what happened to the wicked, but to take the opportunity to encourage those and reach out and save them from hell. And we have what they need. His name is Jesus. And we have a responsibility to not let the wicked sinners question mark what will happen. So with that, I just want to encourage you to be Jesus to somebody. Keep your scales honest. Do your outreach with a positive heart without grumbling words. And pray for our leaders. And I just pray that as you go through the rest of your day and you read this chapter, that the Lord's going to give you a highlighted verse that's going to speak to you and that you're going to gain new wisdom from. Thanks for being with me. Have a blessed rest of your day.